All right, guys, so we just learned about ebooks, or we actually learned about lead magnets. In this video, I want to talk about the psychology behind a good or an effective lead magnet. It's really important that you understand that psychology really plays a big part in your entire blog. Now, I don't want to make this sound confusing, but it's important that you know that a lot of times, like, your job is to make people take action. So oftentimes, the psychology behind what you put in front of them is what's going to make them take action. For example, when you're doing an ebook, when you're writing an ebook, it's really important that you add an element of teaching in it. Now, this is something you're not going to hear from anyone else in any other food blog course. Most people don't know this, but it's one of the secrets. It's one of the things that I used to grow my food blog from 0 to 300,000 visits, per month, and 40,000 email addresses and $15,000 a month. This is one of the biggest secrets, is that you must add a teaching element to what you do. Now, why is that important? There are thousands and thousands of food blogs on the internet, and all of them sort of do the same thing, right? Recipes, pictures, ebooks, everybody does sort of the same thing. What most of the blogs don't do is teach. Now, why is that important? Well, if I have a blog, like I did, my baking blog, and I teach people how to be better cooks, or I teach people how to do things better, or do, whatever, anything, right? Like, look at you with this course, right? I'm teaching you. There's value in learning. There isn't much value in, I hate to say this, but beautiful pictures. Everybody takes beautiful pictures. Everybody who's been doing this for a while eventually takes nice pictures. So you're not going to really separate yourself on Pinterest with beautiful pictures. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because look, Dan taught a photography lesson that is really important, because if you take bad pictures, it's going to be very difficult to get attention. But what's going to separate you is adding a teaching element to your blog. So, number one thing when writing a good ebook, okay? Offer value. Teach them something that they're not going to know just by, looking at food blogs. So, for example, you might have like 7 tips for, making, that's nice. For making a killer chicken. I don't know. You're going to have to come up with that. But that's just an idea, right? 7 tips for making a killer chicken. Now, if you notice, it's probably going to be the same thing as coming up with, a cool chicken recipe, but it's a little more, there adds a little bit more value in adding a teaching element to it. Now, I know we've been talking about ebooks, and don't get overwhelmed. In the next lesson, in the next video, we're going to teach you how to create an ebook. But I just want you to know what type of ebooks you should be creating before we go any further. So, add a teaching element to it. Number 2, as we said before, an insider club. Now, the reason I'm going to lump these together is because we did free tips and tricks, right? So we said free tips and tricks that you won't find anywhere else. Well, what are tips and tricks? It's a learning element. It's not just more recipes. Everybody, can get more recipes. We're not in a shortage of recipes, but we are in a shortage of learning. Many food blogs, or I should say most food blogs, don't realize this. And guys, if there's one thing that you can take away from Food Blog Secrets, it is that the way you separate yourself is not by your recipes, is not by your photography, although that can help. It's by doing something like teaching or offering learning that's going to separate your blog from everybody else. Now, I just wanted to, I know this wasn't that much, but I needed you guys to understand that a teaching element to everything that you do is very, very important.